they were recovered from a mass grave at the Capitan prisoner of war camp in the Philippines. Many more veterans, including many who suffered through the Bataan Death March, are expected to be identified in the near future and have the proper burial they deserve. So, Hannah, how's the weather going to look?
Yeah, I was hoping there's going to be any rain today or this week.
Yeah, we won't be seeing any rain in New Mexico, but we are seeing systems of rain throughout pretty much the entire United States. As you can see here, there's a bit of rain pushing up into the Midwest and even up into North Carolina, as well as some scattered storms throughout pretty much the entire western United States, but skies are clear in New Mexico. Now, what we are going to be observing here is a fire weather warning that extends in this whole pink area, including central New Mexico and eastern New Mexico, until Saturday at 9 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. In this tiny yellow area here, we're also observing a high wind warning. That includes Culberson and Eddy counties until Sunday at 12 a.m. So if you are in an area where you're impacted by a fire weather watch, or if you're seeing high winds, you're going to want to exercise caution when outside. We're going to be seeing some dry winds. That's all I have for you right now. Back to you.
Thank you, Hannah. In honor of Smokey Bear's 80th birthday, the Smokey Bear Historical Park in Capitan will be hosting a 2-week exhibit of paintings by Rudy Wendelin, April 30th to May 10th. Rudy Wendelin began working for the Forest Service in 1933 as a draftsman and illustrator. After a stint as a Navy artist during World War II, Wendelin returned to the Forest Service and was given responsibility for the Smokey Bear Project. He created hundreds of Smokey representations that highlighted natural resources conservation and forest fire prevention. Under Wendelin's direction, Smokey assumed the human-like characteristics for which he is best known, wearing a solemn expression, dressed in a forest ranger's hat and jeans, and carrying a shovel. Thanks to Wendelin's art, Smokey's message, "Only you can prevent wildfires," has prevailed through generations.
Balancing the needs of the many with those who have traditionally reaped benefits from public lands is behind a new rule issued Thursday by the Bureau of Land Management. Roz Brown from the Public News Service has more.
250,000 acres of public lands, including 13 million in New Mexico, now fall under the Public Lands Rule. The BLM is charged with managing multiple uses, but has historically prioritized extraction, such as oil and gas drilling, along with cattle grazing over conservation and outdoor recreation. The New Mexico Wildlife Federation's Jesse Dubell believes the new rule is more fair-minded.
I really feel like this new rule doesn't minimize those other things. Those other uses are still going to be allowed to continue, but now decisions are going to be made with conservation in the forefront. And of course, conservation, by definition, is the wise use of our natural resources.
The rule requires that BLM managers prioritize designating more areas of critical environmental concern in their land use planning. Right now, that number is small, but those that exist help protect cultural sites and wildlife habitat. The rule also allows BLM managers to issue conservation leases to nonprofit and community organizations, including tribal communities, for landscape restoration work on public lands. In the face of climate change, Keegan King, executive director of New Mexico's Native Land Institute, believes the long-term health of public lands must be a priority.
I'm a conservationist, but I'm also a hunter, and it's important that we protect these places for a variety of different uses. And there are ranchers and other people that utilize federal lands, and it's important that all of it is maintained for future generations.
According to the Commerce Department's 2022 Bureau of Economic Analysis data, outdoor recreation generated $2.4 billion in added value for New Mexico and created almost 28,000 jobs. During the BLM's public process on the issue, more than 90% of comments were in favor of elevating conservation for a more balanced approach to public land management. I'm Roz Brown.
The BLM's mission, which is principally defined by the Federal Land Policy and Management Act of 1976, and directs the agency to carry out a dual mandate, that of managing public land for multiple uses while conserving natural, historical, and cultural resources.
The Portales High School is developing new sports fields and courts for its school's athletics. The softball fields have recently been constructed and are already being played on for their games. As for the new tennis court, it is on its way to completion, but due to weather issues for the construction, it has not been completed at this time. To watch the varsity softball game on these new courts, you can watch their home game versus Goddard High School on April 30th at 5 p.m.
The Village of Ruidoso is hosting its first annual Renaissance Fair at Wingfield Park on May 17th and 18th. The event is set to immerse people in an enchanting atmosphere of medieval history, fantasy, and fun. The event features talented jesters, minstrel, and troubadours, as well as a bustling marketplace of medieval wares and delicious food. Tickets can be purchased online for $25 for one day and $35 for the weekend, or at the gate for $35 a day and $45 for the weekend. Kids 17 and younger, however, can get in for free with a ticketed adult, and any additional children will only be $10 a day. You can find out more information at www.lincolnforestrenfair.com. Coming up after the break, Hannah will have her full weather forecast for you.
But first, here's a look at today's financial market.
Northwest portion of the state, but skies will remain clear for most of us, particularly in the eastern portion of the state. Now, we are going to be seeing some high wind speeds throughout the state. Right now, as you can see in the southwest portion of the state, we're seeing wind speeds reach as high as 20 or 30 miles per hour. Throughout most of the state, wind speeds are a little bit lower, ranging between 10 and 20 miles per hour. Now, as we head into Saturday morning, we're going to see those wind speeds pick up in the eastern portion of the state, where they'll be reaching as high as 30 and 40 miles per hour. But over in the northwest, wind speeds will drop down, where you'll be seeing wind speeds between none and 10 to 20 miles per hour. As we go into Sunday, you'll see in the morning the wind speeds are going to be quite low, and then as we get into the evening, wind speeds will be around 10 miles per hour throughout most of the state. Now, current temperatures throughout the state are quite warm. They're a little bit chillier in the northwest portion of the state, where we're seeing 62 in Farmington and 60 in Gallup. In the southwest portion of the state, it's quite a bit warmer. We're seeing 79 in Las Cruces. Over here in the eastern portion of the state, we're seeing some nice temperatures. It's a little bit chillier in Ruidoso at 65, but over here in Brutalis, we're seeing 79, and up north in Clovis, it is 78. Tonight's lows are going to be quite chilly as winds bring some cold weather down. We're seeing 38 in Farmington and 30 in Gallup, as well as 47 in Truth or Consequences and 39 in Silver City. Over here in the eastern portion of the state, we're seeing 48 in Roswell, 46 in Brutalis, 43 in Clovis, and 41 in Tucumcari. Tomorrow's highs are going to be a little bit chillier because of those cool temperatures brought down. We're going to see 55 in Farmington and 48 in Gallup. It's going to be a little bit warmer in the southwest. We're seeing 72 around Alamogordo. Here in the eastern portion of the state, we're seeing 75 in Portales and 74 in Clovis. Now, as for our 7-day forecast, we're going to be seeing some wind this weekend throughout most areas in the state. Sunny weather throughout the week, and over in Roswell, we're going to be seeing highs between 90 and 70 degrees and lows between 40 and 60 degrees. In Carlsbad, we'll be seeing some wind this weekend, but sunny weather throughout the rest of the week. Highs reaching as high as 94 and as low as 79, and lows between 40 and 50. Over here in Portales, we'll be seeing wind speeds on the weekend as well with sunny weather. Highs between 70 and 90 degrees, and nightly lows ranging between 40 and 50 degrees. In particular, you'll be seeing a temperature as high as 90 on Wednesday.
Well, I'm not looking forward to that wind, but unfortunately, that's all the weather we have for right now. We'll be right back after the break.
Lee County has announced its commitment to increase housing options within the county. The fund overall is being given out over the next 5 years, reaching a total of over $21 million. $14 million going to Hobbs for 64, and $4.5 million going to Lovington for apartment complexes and more affordable housing in the area. The commitments are made from the county's capital project fund and will eventually produce reoccurring property tax revenue. District 2 Commissioner Gene Jackson thanked fellow Commissioner Cena by saying, quote, "This is something that needs to be done for a long time. Luckily, here in the county, we're able to do this and help the communities," end quote.
Eastern New Mexico University has a new PhD on campus. She's a familiar face to many of us here at KENW because she's a professor in the ENMU Communication Department. As a reception celebrating her huge accomplishment, she was just getting used to being called Dr. Kwan Yu, although most know her as just Q. The assistant professor of mass communication completed her PhD this week and was approved by the committee at the University of Oklahoma. Dr. Yu is from Beijing, China, and after 5 years of working on her doctorate, will finally get to go home for the first time to visit with friends and family, before becoming a professor at ENMU. Dr. Yu was a business reporter and a columnist in a large national media firm. She traveled across the globe interviewing top international executives and wrote a number of long-term cover stories. As an active scholar, she has maintained a strong academic performance with some of her studies accepted at several international conferences.
The Curry County Sheriff's Office has received multiple calls about scammers pretending to be a Curry County Sheriff's deputy. The callers use different names and phone numbers and instruct the individual to pay fines for services with a gift card and lieu of being arrested on a warrant. The Sheriff Department wants to remind the people of Curry County that the Sheriff's Department will never request funds to be paid over gift cards or over the phone. If you have been a victim of the scam or have any information involving these incidents, please contact the Curry County Sheriff's Office at 575-769-2335.
Coming up after the break, Donnie will have the latest news in the sports world for you, so stay tuned.
Fans, this is Donald Couch. Let's get into this week's sports news. The NFL draft started last night and will continue to the weekend. The first round of the NFL draft was a wild one. It set the record for the most offensive players taken before a defensive player was selected in round 14. The run on offensive players included 6 quarterbacks taken in the top 15, something we have never seen before in the modern draft era. Teams such as the Chicago Bears selected a potential franchise-changing quarterback, Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick, to the Atlanta Falcons, surprising everyone by taking a QB with the number 8 overall pick in Michael Penix Jr. Surely a draft that will continue to get more and more crazy as the rounds go on over the weekend. The NBA postseason upon us, we've seen many of the top seeded teams dominate the competition, such as the Nuggets and the Lakers series, in which the Lakers have lost 10 straight times going back to last year in the series. We've also seen the emergence of superstars like Anthony Edwards on the Timberwolves, who has again proven himself to be the true number 1 option on the Timberwolves roster, dominating in a similar fashion to an old Bulls player who used to wear 23. Overall, the NBA playoffs have been an incredible show to watch. As we've seen throughout the year, it's never clear who is the true winner until the postseason hits. One of the most interesting things to happen in these playoffs has been the surprise play of Joel Embiid, who has played on an injured knee and revealed to be having a very serious case of Bell's palsy during the time he's been playing in the playoffs. What makes this more probable is the fact that having Bell's palsy, Joel Embiid dropped 50 points in a away game in Madison Square Garden while having most of his face paralyzed. That is an incredible feat in any sport, let alone basketball. After stealing one in New York, the 76ers went to even the series back in Philly, and no one wants that more than Joel Embiid. The State Esports Championship is quickly becoming one of the biggest events of the year, with teams competing from all over the state, including eastern and southeastern New Mexico. Gamers from across the state in multiple games, including Madden, Rocket League, League of Legends, and Super Mario Kart. Several teams from our area scored in the Big Esports Championship put out by the New Mexico Athletic Association in Albuquerque recently. They included a close second-place overall team, finishing Class 5A, with the Roswell Gas team coming in third, as Albuquerque La Cueva took the top spot. On the game League of Legends, Roswell Gaston came in first in 5A, Clovis got a first-place trophy in Mario Kart Deluxe, and in 4A Action, Portales had second place showing on the game Rocket League. Well, that's all the sports I have for you now. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back. So Hannah, can we have one last look of the weather this weekend?
Yeah, let's take another look at that weather. This Friday in Roswell, we're going to be seeing a temperature of around 83 degrees and some sunny weather. On Saturday, we're going to be seeing higher wind speeds and a high of 76 degrees. And on Sunday, it's going to be a little bit cloudy but sunny with a high of 80 degrees. Over in Santa Rosa, we're seeing some wind throughout the weekend on both Friday and Saturday. Today we're seeing a high of 74, and it's going to dip down on Saturday to 64. On Sunday, it's going to be sunny with a bit of clouds, and the weather is going to pick back up. We're going to see a temperature high of 74. Over in Carlsbad, we're going to be seeing a high today of 83, and we're seeing high winds on both Friday and Saturday. Tomorrow it's going to dip down to 77 degrees, but Sunday it'll be sunny, and we'll be seeing a high of 80 degrees. Over here in Portales, we're also going to be seeing wind on Friday and Saturday, but those wind speeds will calm down on Sunday. Today we saw a high of 83 degrees. Tomorrow the high will dip down to 77 degrees. And on Sunday we'll be seeing a nice warm high of 80 degrees.
It's going to be real nice, but real windy.
I sure do love all that wind.
Yep, and you'll definitely have to dress for warm weather next week.
I'm already switching out my closet, pulling out the shorts, putting away the long sleeves and sweaters.
All those summer clothes coming out right out of the closet.
And it's only April.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
I bet we'll
crazy.
be seeing some great weather, especially as we start to see more rain in the summer.
Which is going to be very helpful.
Oh yeah. But that's all we have tonight. See you next week.
Good night.